In September of 2020, Rivers of Steel presented the LightPlay exhibition at the Carrie Blast Furnaces. This multi-sensory experience invited audiences to intimately explore this National Historic Landmark at night, leading them into locations previously restricted to the public to discover light and sound installations created by local artists and engineers. Works that examine the history, culture, and physical boundaries of the site.
Hi, my name is Renee Paichaki. I'm an artist and a public art consultant based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. One of the things I think is really important about projects like LightPlay is it offers artists the opportunity to work in the public realm, maybe who haven't done so before. So I always love that, right? I always love new places where artists can be showing their work outside of traditional museum or gallery environments. But the other thing that's important is that the site gets to have artists reinterpreting it. And so for a place like this, where the history is long and varied and complicated, to have a project like LightPlay gives you the perspectives of so many different artists looking at the physical space and its social context.
It was such a gift in the middle of the pandemic, especially, to come here to a place that I already loved, but to see it in a completely different way. And you guys did a fantastic job, I think, at mitigating the safety and making us feel like we were never in danger, but there was still a lot of freedom. There was a lot of freedom to feel like you were exploring the site. And those artists, there are a few that were my absolute favorites because I knew the place, but you know, you opened a door and this incredible world was created by them, specific to Carrie. Man, it was really great.
As soon as I walked into the space, I was just consumed by history, consumed by the hauntings of yesterday, and not in a sort of, you know, horror film sort of way, but just the remembrance. The stories are still here. To package everything, make it look, use supplies that was all about creating this sort of care for a package, preservation, but it's not reliable either. So it's even the attempt of trying to preserve. It's a sort of, it's a prophecy on the what I would call the day of the virtual rust is coming. So yeah, it's just this sort of fantastic sort of space, fantastic sort of narrative for you to catch up to yourself, consider progress, and remember what you are, where you're coming from, where you are now, and where you're going to.
The title is called "There's Something Inside of Us That Knows Where We Came From, and We Long to Return." It's just this notion that we're made of stardust. A long time ago when I was a child, I grew up in Japan. Somebody told me that when we pass away, we become stars. And I thought it was kind of a poetic interpretation to hear that people die in the furnace and then possibly becoming these nuclear furnaces that are up in the sky, kind of, you know, cycling the, I guess continuing the cycle of creation. So the piece was pretty much a tribute to the people that passed away.
I was thinking about the site here, the history of the furnaces, the legacy that it has, and kind of simultaneously thinking about all the crazy stuff that's happening in our world this year. And it kind of really actually pretty quickly came to me, this idea of breath and breathing. You know, obviously we have COVID, we have I can't breathe, you know, we have terrible air pollution. And so it just felt like something to meditate on that was timely and relevant to the site here.
Definitely a few pieces in particular that felt incredibly immersive, in that it was not just like an art piece that you were viewing, is that you were becoming a part of it. The first one that we walked into was like a boiler room or something, and it was all the noise, sort of like the sounds, and light was echoing the sounds of the furnace, and it was honestly a little bit terrifying. We were like, wait a minute, this was not supposed to be a haunted house, right? But we were together, so it was okay. But it was really interesting because we were a little scared, and then we were both like, wow, but that's really cool that it's happening in front of us, it's happening behind us, it's the light and the sound and the reality of what this place is are all sort of melding together.
I think some people were a little like freaked out or scared by it. Given the context, it's like dark and all that, and the heavy breathing. But other people, it's a really subtle work. It's not something that's gonna flash in your face. It's sound-based, but it's not like musical or anything like that. So it's a really subtle work.
Particularly loved walking through Danny Bracken's piece. So walking through Danny's with the video projection and the sound of breathing, I almost felt like I was the heart surrounded by lungs of the place, right? And then to first just appreciate the aesthetic of that piece. It was very quiet, these small places where light was coming in and out, that was time with the breath, different people's breath, but then it made you think about the social context of this place and the physical issues that people have who've lived around this place, and the trouble with breathing and cancer. And so it wasn't just being inside this breathing heart of the community that this probably was when so many people worked here, but now thinking about it as the lungs of people who were here and live here. So that immersively was really complicated, because you had the physical place, and then you had the installation where you were walking through this place to experience it all, and then you had the social context that came to you. So 5 stars, right? It got you very outside of your own mindset, and try to get into the mindset of the place.
I think that the immersive nature of the work here is really interesting because it combines that creative inspiration with the history of this space and the relative untouched nature of the space and sort of the raw grittiness. And I think there were some specific pieces in LightPlay that were particularly immersive and particularly impactful in that way, where you really did feel like you became a part of the piece, or you were inside the piece almost, rather than just viewing a piece of artwork in front of you. Those pieces really were compelling in that they took something like a sound installation or a light installation and used the space in a way that really sort of created a unique experience for the viewer.
I remember someone asked, do you have a fracking well in your own backyard?
This is such a great space. You can kind of see it when you come in. So you see these these words kind of projected on the surface of the blast furnace when you kind of walk into the exhibition, and then when you get kind of closer, you start hearing the voices of these people talking. This is a piece that I created in collaboration with the North Braddock Residents for Our Future, which is an environmental group based out of North Braddock. And we've been working together for about a year, working on creating a series of projects that look at the experiences of people that grew up in this area. And for me, this has been an incredibly powerful experience, talking to people about their experiences. And I was hoping that I think sometimes sort of stories about the environment or about pollution or about the steel industry are often driven by kind of the narratives that that like the steel industry wants, or sometimes when it's about the environment, it's very technical, and and it's like all these invisible particles are infecting you or affecting you in these different ways. And I think that my goal with this project is that you're able to hear real people talking about their experiences, and that I hope that some of those stories stick with you.
For me, I think historic sites collaborating with artists is a really important way to help reinterpret what the meaning of a place is over time. And so the fact that it's not just decoration, right? That it's not just a monument to the place, but it's actually inviting artists to come in and do what they do best, which is to find conceptual threads between sites and times that need to be connected. It's great to see that Carrie Furnaces is part of that layer of the art world, right? These nationally important places that are bringing in great artists to do work. What I think is really important about the work that you're doing is it's a place for emerging and mid-career artists to take risks. And sometimes there are not enough venues that are inviting artists to try new things. And the fact that an artist can come here and do something they've never done before, or do it in a scale they've never done before, or get to work outside and they've never gotten that chance before, is really important for the ecosystem of the arts in Pittsburgh. Right? Like, we need more venues that are willing to say, oh, like, you've never done anything like this before? Great, come do it here. And that is, for our arts community to thrive, we need to have opportunities that are very varied for people and very welcoming. And so I appreciate that you're working on that.
Well, I think it gives artists an opportunity to experiment and to do things they've never done before. It showcased a Pittsburgh treasure in conjunction with the work of those artists. It was a brand new kind of experience for people to have. They're going to come back to Carrie, I'm sure, to experience other things. I think it really furthered your mission to combine art and your historic site. It was really a wonderful win-win for everybody.
So the fact that you guys were doing something that was fun, safe, art-filled, I think it was really exciting for us to, put our shoes on and leave the house after dark to go see art, and we both definitely got in the car and was like, that was really fun. That was a great, half hour, 45 minutes to just breathe air that was not inside our house, and briefly see people from a distance. And so I think in the sense of creating sort of pandemic-friendly programming, coming from people who are very, very detail-oriented and critical about some of the other supposedly pandemic-friendly things, I think you guys nailed it.
Because of the time ticketing, it wasn't a rushed environment. You could really sit with the works and enjoy them. I was really happy because there were certain pieces that played off the aesthetics of the site, but then there were other pieces that really played off the health risks of this place, or the social history of this place, or how neighbors have engaged with this place over time. So for me, it was terrific. I've been to Carrie Furnaces many, many times, and a chance to come back and see the site through new points of view was wonderful.
In this region, it's pretty unique to be able to, first of all, come onto this property at all, and second of all, to be able to, take tours and learn about the history of it, but then these sort of these extended experiences where someone's responding to the space and creating something new.
My experience is that audiences are really looking for something different. They love discovering the layers of our city and neighborhoods that they may not know. And the experience itself really connects to different ways that we are really a participant rather than a sitting back spectator these days in art of all kinds. So I think you're really well positioned to lean into that and give people a lot more. felt I knew Carrie pretty well, and so I was really amazed that there is so much more to the site than I know, and it's really going to make me come back again and again, because I know you're going to offer me a part of the place that I haven't seen, or a new way to look at it.